This call is now being recorded.
Now start. So good evening to all, dear students. Uh, this good evening. I hope all are ready to listen the session. First of all, I would like to uh, thank our management, our correspondent of Konga Arts and Science College, and IIC President Dr. Jayanti Madam, then the coordinators, especially the CTIT coordinator Kalai, and the head of the department of CTIT, and the coordinators and the faculty members who are all being in the program uh, to make this program as a very successful one and very beneficial to the students also. So I thank everybody in this occasion, and I also thank our students, especially this CTIT students, for being in this session even after the classes. You are willing to listen the things. So we are very happy to look into this, and our students are very eagerly listening the sessions. With the acknowledgement, I'm starting this session. I hope this will be a beneficial session for you. Actually, first of all, I have to thank the Institution Innovation Council of India also. By thanking all, I'm starting the session. I think all of you are hearing me. I'm audible. Uh, Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Audible.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So the session today is improving the potential for innovations through design thinking. All of us know that we are in need of innovations in today's scenario. The innovations plays major role, and in each and every part of even in your curriculum and in your life progress, and during this design activities, in everywhere wherever you go, this innovations plays the major role, because day to day everything is improving and the technologies are changing, and we have to compete with the other people who are all getting into the globalization. So this innovation plays a major role, and we are in need of improving this innovations. Actually, we know what is innovation. The new things what we are implementing is innovation. So we are saying that innovation, 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 and how we can improve this innovations through the design thinking is the topic today. So all of you know that design thinking means design means pattern or model or whatever it may be. But you think if it is when you are thinking about the model, you may be thinking it is just like the one which is like other. But here, design thinking means it is giving some other idea also. So when you getting into the design thinking, it's a non-linear iterative process that terms used to understand the users, challenge assumptions, and redefine problems, create innovative solutions to prototype and test. So these are the things which define the design thinking. Actually, it is a non-linear process. It is not linear. It is not thinking in a. It is not going in a linear manner. It is not just like that. It is not going. It is an iterative process. Again and again, again and again, you will be doing the. You will be repeating the process in terms of understanding the users, challenging the challenge assumptions. What are the assumptions you have to do for the innovations, then redefining the problems. When you define a problem, how again and again you have to redefine it, and you have to create the innovative solutions to the prototypes, and again and again you have to test the model. So this is an iterative process. Again and again you have to do it. So it is a method of creative problem solving. When you talk about the design thinking, it means that it's a method of creative problem solving. It draws upon logical intuition, imagination, etc. So whatever the name you are giving for the innovation, it will come under this design thinking. So it's a method of the creative problem solving. So when you talk about the design thinking, it's a mix of analytical thinking and initiative thinking. I think most probably all of you know that what is analytical thinking. Can anybody unmute and say what is analytical thinking? Students, I want you to be interactive. Maybe it's an evening, but we can make the evening a very pleasant one. So anybody can unmute and say what is analytical thinking? No, can't unmute, right? Okay, okay, no problem. I think you are all from information technology background. You have attended so many competitive exams and all. So when the problems are given for you, you have to analyze the problems. What is behind that given problem? You have to analyze for the solution. To get the solution, you have to analyze. What is the first? You have to analyze the problem, then you have to go for the solution. So that is actual reality should be analyzed there. So that is analytical thinking. Then initiative thinking, this is that is what something coming from our inner mind. This may be the solution, this may be a right one, like that. That is initiative thinking. So the combination of these two gives the design thinking. It's nothing but some logical thinking and imagination. New imagination gives you the design thinking. So with the design thinking teams, teams have the freedom to generate groundbreaking solutions. So whenever we go for some innovations or the design thinking, the teams we have to work on teams. Why we are insisting this teams means when we are going for the new products or whatever it may be, the various multiple ideas and multiple domains and multiple talent should be combined. Then only you can get your solutions in an effective and long standing manner. So that for that you are framing the teams, and that teams too have the freedom to generate the groundbreaking solutions. Then the design thinking phases are involving this design thinking phases is involving five phases. The five phases: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. So these are the five phases involving in this design thinking. So this design thinking, it can be in a serial fashion, but it is not actually in the serial fashion. It may be considered serial fashion. Empathize, then you can define, then you can ideate, then you can prototype, and then at last you can test. Empathize means understanding the problem, then you can define the problem, then you can come to the methodology or the ideation regarding that problem, then you can design a prototype for that problem, and you can go and test it. Actually the process involved in this design thinking are given here. I think everybody can view this diagram. So empathize means nothing but understanding the problem of the customer or the actual problem, what is there. That is empathize. So in this empathize, after understanding what is happening, when we go for an innovation means, um, I think the screen is not in full screen, right, ma'am? Excuse me, students. I think now you can view the full screen. So this is nothing but the empathize is understanding the problem. So after understanding what is happening, you can go to the defining the problem. What is what you have understood in that complexity. So when we can go for the innovation means whenever we face some problems, we go for the innovation. So when we face a problem, we must we should we must able to understand that, or we must able to define that problem. You have to express what is that actual problem. Then you have to define what is happening, what is the actual difficulties in that problem, etc. That should be defined actually. And then you have to go for the ideation. Ideation means what are the ideas or what are the methodologies to solve that problem. What is the idea to overcome or to get the solution for that particular problem. In real life, you are having so many problems. You are facing so many problems. Problems means not our problems in the life. Actually, what we are facing in that society is, for example, when you are going to buy a product, you may be buying some product like cosmetics and all, and what are the difficulties or what are the drawbacks in that product, you should analyze. And you may be feeling that this is one advantage in this, one disadvantage in this product. So this may be utilized like this, it may be improved like that. So that improvisation is done through this ideology or the ideation. So for that ideation, you have to go for the prototyping. Prototyping is not but nothing but it is a miniature or a model of the original one. It is a throwable one. Prototype means you can execute, but anyhow, after the implementation of the real one, you can throw it. But before that, you can see the actual working of your original problem in this prototype. Then you have to go for the testing whether our idea is working correctly or it is going in the right way, or we have to do anyhow, we have to redefine it. That is given in the testing phase. So if the testing phase is successful, then you can go for the implementation. This we know as the computer science students, we know that if the testing, we pass the testing, then we can go for the next implementation. But if suppose in this middle, wherever for example, if the when you are not getting the correct results in the prototype itself means, then again you have to go for the new ideas. Or maybe when you are doing the prototyping, you may get some other new idea. So again, you can go back to the ideology and you can change your ideas and you can go for the next prototype. So after doing the when the prototype is successful, or when you get the right prototype, then again you go for the testing. So in the third phase, in the last phase of the testing, what you are returning to three phases. If the test fails, the one is ideology. Yeah, if the ideology fails, then the prototype also fails. So if the ideology is not right, again you have to go and you are improving the ideation. Then again you are creating new idea, or you are improving the idea, or you are putting the alternate idea. So like that you will be doing. So again, if the idea is also, and the problem, actual problem what you have defined is not actually correct means, again you have to go for the for defining the problem very rightly. So that is another going back. And the another one failure in the test is understanding the problem, actual understanding of the customer complexity. So if you are not understanding the problem of the customer actual problem, then again from the test to the first one, you have to go back and the actual problem should be understood. And again, you have to come from the first one. You have to do the empathize correctly, then you have to define the problem correctly, then you have to go for the correct ideation, prototype, and then testing. So this is an iterative process. I hope you understand this. This is again explained here. The empathize reach your user's need. So what is the need of the user? That should be understand first. If they want to have For example, if they want just 1 liter of that bottle, and you may be supplying just 100 ml of bottles, means then you are not fulfilling the user's needs, because the user may feel that going to the shop and getting every time 100, maybe it may be, they may be using that product very frequently, and they may be in need of big bottles, but you are supplying only 100 ml of your product, means then you have to research the user needs, and you should understand the problem of the users very correctly, and you should try to solve. So for that, this empathize, you should do the research. That is the main thing. For understanding the customer problem, you should do the research with your customers. For that, you can go for the surveys and all, and you have to do the analysis. After taking the survey, you can do the analysis. When you go to your shops or the departmental stores, they may be getting the feedback from you. So from that feedback, they'll do the analysis of the user needs, and they'll find the solution for that one. So that is the empathize. So in the second phase, phase 2, defining, state your users needs and problems. So here clearly you are defining the need of the users, that is accumulate the information gathered using the during the empathize. Here you'll be gathering the information, what all you have got from the users, that will be accumulated. Then analyzing the observations and synthesize them to define the core problems. Actually, you may be having some small problems, and some spread over problems you may be having, but again you have to make it in a full form, and you have to get the core problems. What is the actual problem? So you have to identify that core problem, and then these definitions, you are defining that problem. That problems are called problem statements. So you have to create the identities, that is called personas, to help to keep your efforts human centered before proceeding to the next phase. So whenever you go for the identities, or when you want to solve some problem, anyhow that should be human centered. Whatever the problem you are solving, or whatever the innovation you are going to do, that should be the human centered, that should oriented to the society. So that should be identified, and then you can go to the proceed the next session. Then the next thing is phase 3, this ideate challenge. This is the ideate, challenge assumptions and create ideas. So here, see, this is the one thing. We may be assuming that we can solve this one by doing this, like that. But we cannot solve problems by using the same kind of thinking what we have used when we created them. So whenever you created when you create a problem, you may be having some kind of thinking. If you think the same kind of thinking, if you're having the same kind of thinking to solve the problem, then you cannot solve that problem. Okay, so that is it. Then from the knowledge gained in the first 2 phases, now you can start to think outside the box. So in the third phase, you have to do this, think outside the box. Not only the outside the box, edge of the box also you can think here. So what this means, you have to think in an alternate way. You cannot think the same thing. You should focus on the next path also. So look for alternative ways to view the problem and identify innovative solutions to the problem statements you have created. And then the next one is the to challenge these assumptions and to create the ideas. You can use the brainstorming. So brainstorming is particularly useful in this creating the ideas. So when you want to solve one problem, you can have 10 members. This is for an example. You can have 10 members who are having some ideas about that domain, and you can have a discussion with them. You can get the ideas of them, or you can get the views of them in the positive way. So that is what is called brainstorming, and you can get the some ideas from them, and you can go for the next phase. So the next phase is nothing but prototype. Here you are starting to create the solution. So in the previous phase, you are getting the idea how to solve the problem. You are getting the idea, but in this prototype, you are starting to create solution. That is how to solve that problem. You have got that. Now you are implementing. This is an experimental phase. For example, if you want to do some construction work for a house, you can create the miniature of that house and you can put the electrical lines and you can put the especially you can go for the water flows and all. So for the water flows, you can fix those pipes and you can test whether from this, for example, when you are constructing a complex, for 10 to 12 floors you are constructing means, then how the water flow will go, how we have to do the plumbing and all. So that can be done as the prototype and you can get the right flows, and in that way you have to fix the pipes. So that is one thing here. So this is an experimental phase. So in this phase, you can identify where the water is trucking. So where we have to change the position, or in which floor you are not getting the water flow properly. So that can be checked using this prototype. This is that is this phase. Okay. So like that, you can initiate all the ideas in this one. Then your team should produce some inexpensive scaled down versions of the product. So this is very important. You should not create the expensive one. You have to go for an inexpensive one, scaled down versions of the product. Just a minute. So here, when you are producing the prototype, that should be inexpensive, because I already told you it's throwable. You are not going to reuse that prototype for anything. So it's throwable. So that should be inexpensive. That should not be a costly one. To investigate the ideas you have generated. So this could involve simply even paper prototyping also can be done. That is, you can draw the things, or you can use the papers, even the papers, to model your ideas. This is very effective one. Modeling anything using the papers. For example, when you are even your windows, even this slide can be prototyped using the papers. So the first one, this outer line with one paper with this color, and this one, this design with one color, and this letters with one what is that font, then with one color, then how to put this bulletins. So everything can be done through the paper prototyping. So this is the model. That is the model. Okay, this is actual slide what I have created using PowerPoint, but the same thing can be created using the paper. So that is what is called prototyping. After that, I can implement it in the PowerPoint. So the next one is the last phase, that is phase 5. Test, try your solutions out. Here, evaluators rigorously test the prototype. Actually, this is the main point. When we are going for the innovations and the design thinking, the evaluators should do their work very promptly and trustworthily, because that test gives you the results. The right results and the long-lasting product solutions will be given by the testing. So the evaluators rigorously test the prototypes. Although this is the final phase, design thinking is iterative, as we have seen earlier. The teams often use the results to redefine one or more further problems. Okay. So what you can do is you can return to the previous stages. Depends on the depends on the test results what we got to make further iterations and alterations and refinements. Okay. So this is the main point. These stages are different modes which contribute to the entire design project rather than sequential steps. These are not sequential steps. These stages are contributing to the different modes. So the next one is we are coming to the design innovation. So we have seen the design thinking. Now we are coming to the design innovation. Usually in the design innovation, we are viability, that is capability plus desirability plus feasibility gives you the innovation. So the design changing the world, actually, the design is changing the world. Like IBM, Infosys, PepsiCo, these all are the world renowned people in the in IT or in any marketing products. So these people, what they are doing is they are recruiting the people for this design thinking, especially for the design thinking and innovation. These people are recruiting more people. What it means every time we cannot you cannot give the same product to the customer, because when the years are going or when the trends are changing, you need the new thing based on the trends and based on the necessity and based on the requirements and based on the need. You have to go for the next patterns or the next product. So that time they have to go for the new one. So for that we have to go for the design thinking and the innovation. So when you go for the innovation, you need the design thinking. So for so that the people are recruiting the design thinking people. That too, the IT people, you need this design thinking more. So here, see this, here, create and deliver. What you are doing is here, hearing means empathize, understand, and define the problem that you are doing here. In the creation, you are ideating and you are doing the prototype here. Then in the deliver, you are improving and you are implementing and you are validating this product. So these are coming under this one. So what is the innovator stage? This is a diagram. What I would like to say is here we are having four parts. One is comfort zone, then fear zone, then learning zone, then growth zone. This is the last zone. The innermost layer is the comfort zone. Innermost zone is the comfort zone. So when we are here, we are very safe. So we are very safe and we don't have any risk, and we are simply doing what job available, and we are just simply we are very much protective and we are here. So if you want to reach this stage, growth zone, you have to cross this one. That is, you have to cross the fear zone and also the learning zone. So in the fear zone means when you come out of this comfort zone, you have to take some risk. You have to take some risk. So whenever we go for some new things, for new ideas, when you are implementing new thing, you have to face the risk. It may be in either side. It may be successful or it may be sometimes not that much successful or not that much expected one. So you have to come across this one. So fear zone you have to cross with stability. So after crossing this one, this is not over. So again you have to go for the learning zone. So with this, you have come out of this fear zone means to reach this growth zone, you have to learn more. You have to learn about the thing what you are going for the innovation. So after learning only you can go for this growth zone. So what whenever you are going for this innovation, you are have to come across these four zones. From this comfort zone to the growth zone, you have to come across the fear zone. You have to completely, you should come out of this fear zone and you have to learn about the things and you can go for the growth zone. And the next one is what is design thinking best used for? So what are all the thing best thinking best used for redefining the values, human-centered innovation, quality of life, so to improve the quality of the life. Then problems affect diverse groups of the people. Here also you can apply this design thinking, shifting markets and behaviors, coping with rapid social or market changes, then issues relating to corporate culture and to new technology, then reinventing business models, addressing rapid changes in the society, then complex unsolved societal challenges, scenarios involving multidisciplinary teams, entrepreneurial initiatives, educational advances, medical breakthroughs, problems that data can't solve. So all these things, in all these things, design thinking can be used. So whatever the thing you take, for example, when you take this coping with rapid or social market changes. So when you go for this market changes, again you have to apply the design thinking to come over your competitor. So when you are going for the issues relating to the corporate culture, we know the corporate culture is different from our culture. So when you want to solve that corporate culture issues, again you have to think. Again you have to design what is the process we have to do, what is the actual process problem there, and what is the ideology to overcome this one, and what is the prototype, and can it be implemented, so that should be tested, and what is the new technology that can be applied to come over this. So all these things you can check, and you can do that. Even in the educational advances, design thinking can be implemented. So nowadays we are following some educational system, and we are to for the globalization, to meet the globalization, what type of educational system changes we need. So we have to do the design thinking. So after doing the things, now the government is implementing the NAP 2020, new education policy is going to be implemented. So all these are coming under the design thinking one. So from the right mindsets, teams and environments for innovation, form the right mindset. So to go for the innovation, to get the successful innovation, you need the people with a good mindset, right mindset, positive mindset, and a good team with multiple talents, good team with multiple domain knowledge and talents and skills, then plus good environments, working environments, and that implementation environment should be good. So all these combinedly will give you a good innovation. So this is the innovation model. Then this is one example for this innovation design thinking through innovation. So whenever we go for the design thinking, I've told you that analyzing the user's problem, customer's problem, customer's complexity, you have to analyze and you have to run your thing. For example, if you're going for a startup means, first you have to find out the need of the users and what are the difficulties they are facing in that one. Everything you have to check. And this one, this Airbnb is a small app. Once upon a time, it's an app which is used to book the holiday rentals, cabins, then beach houses, etc. To reserve all this, we are using this Airbnb. So this was a small app when they have started this. This was a startup at that time. But now in this 2021, they have earned that in the Q3, the revenue of this Airbnb app is $2.2 billion. How they have reached this means, before that, when they have started this one, they have earned just $200 per week. Only 200, like are 2,000 rupees, and nowadays they are getting 200 crores, like that. That is the difference here. So the lots of the experimentation, risk and thinking outside of the, they have they have done the experimentation. The founders done the experimentation. What they have did is they have used that app with the mindset of customers. So like a customer, they have used their app. Then they found that the photographs in that app are not that much appreciable, and also not that much attractive. So what they've done is they've traveled to New York, and they bought one good camera, and they traveled to New York and spend some time with their customers to replace the amateur photos. That is the very first photos, very kiddie photos, and they have replaced it with more professional looking photos. So a week later, their revenue was nearly doubled. So this was the risk they have taken. They have analyzed, and they have gone to change the things and they have changed it and the revolution occurred. This was one of the photo what they have inserted in that in their app is one of the photo. So we have seen that design thinking and innovation. So using the design thinking, we can go for the innovation, etc. We have seen. But when we are talking about the design thinking, and all, how to improve or how to exercise this design thinking, that is main thing. So for that, we are having some methods. The first one is camper, and the next one is SWOT analysis, and the next one is 6 thinking hacks, and group sketching and brain writing, mind mapping, final thoughts. So see, these are some exercises which can be used for the design thing. That is, can be used to improve the design thinking of our mind. We can use these exercises. When you go to the scamper, when you are talking about the scamper, in this the S stands for substitute, C stands for combine, A for adapt, M for modify, P for put to the other users, and E eliminate, and R rearrange or reverse. So these are the things of stand in this scamper. In this substitute, what element within the product can be swapped with something else, or what would happen? So in this, you should note one thing. Whatever the element you want to substitute, that product or that should be within that product itself. So the next one is combine. Here you can combine more features or more products, more raw materials, or whatever it may be in that product. So that is combined. Then adapt. What aspects of the product can be adapted to a different context, and how? That is adapt. Then modify. What can be modified to improve the product? This is the analysis. What can be modified in that product and to improve the product, and put to other users. So are there any other users in this product can serve? Any other product, any other user can use the, supply this product, or they can produce the product. So that should be analyzed. Then eliminate. Is there anything within the product that can be removed? That you can modify, you can analyze that whether anything can be eliminated or whether anything can be combined, on how to adapt, how to use that product, and anything else can be substituted, and also rearranging the product or reversing the things. So these all things should be analyzed using this camper. Whatever the idea you think, anything you want to design, you can implement this one. Then next is SWOT analysis. Strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Usually when we do our PDP and all, we learn this SWOT analysis, but here you are doing that for your product, your idea. So whatever the thing you want to do, you have to use this one. You have to analyze the strength of your product, whether that product works well, or what are the likes most about your product. What are the things, what are the features the customer will like in your product, that you have to analyze. Then weaknesses. What are the drawbacks in your product? What you don't like or the customers don't like in that product. That is the thing next you have to analyze. Then the opportunities. Whenever, what are the opportunities your product will give for the users, for the customers? So what are the opportunities that can be utilized to improve your product? So that one. And threats. Threats means here, are there you are having similar products in the market, or are you aware of anything like that, or your competitors can make it and they can sell it. So these are the things you have to analyze in the SWOT analysis. Next is 6 thinking hats. So here you are having 6 hats with 6 colors: white, yellow, black, red, green, and blue. So here white hat, you have to do it logically. What are the facts and what information do we have regarding the problem? Then yellow hat is optimism. What's good in that? What is right now? That is one. Then black hat. This is also called devil's advocate. What are the risks that is coming under black? Red is emotion. What does your gut tell you? That is, our inner thinking will give us something about the product or our innovation. So what that our emotion is telling us. Then green hat, creativity. Or there other users or alternatives. So are you having any other alternatives in this that one? Then blue hat, management or the rules of the exercise being followed. So this is the blue hat. Then group sketching, this is another exercise. Here we are using more than one participant. Each participant will start with their own piece of paper and a writing tool. Set a timer for 2 to 3 minutes and let each member sketch their own idea for that particular product what we are going to develop. Once the time is up, every participant passes their paper to the another member, who then adds their own idea to that page. For example, you may be creating one idea and your friend may be creating one idea. You both exchange your drawings, and you are continuing your friend's idea, and your friend is continuing your idea. So that is the group sketching. This continues until each participant has had a chance to add every original sketch. So all the participant to touch all the other participants sketch. So that is group sketching. Then brain writing. This is another technique. In this brain writing is a brainstorming technique. Participants are simply writing their ideas down on a sheet of paper. Once the time is up, again they pass their ideation notes on the following team members, who then add their own ideas to what the original participant wrote. Actually, in the sketching, you are doing the drawing. In this brain writing, you are doing the writing. Then mind mapping. For this, nowadays we are having so many apps. Here you start by writing down your task or the problem to be solved in the center of your design space, and the pencil and the paper or a whiteboard should work well for this exercise. So you can center your problem and you can branch your ideas, what you are going to do, and you can draw this in the mind mapping. Then the final thoughts, use the above techniques to help make your brainstorming sessions as productive and helpful as possible. Then try not to be too strict on yourself and look upon your ideas and the ideas of others with a non-judgmental attitude. Then encourage wacky or non-traditional ideas, focusing more on quantity at this point rather than quality. Gather your resources. Without these resources, design thinking is a little bit hard. Then give yourself a time limit. This is very much important. Whenever you go for an ideation, you need the time limit and you need the time to a goal time to implement your ideas. So let the ideas flow. And this is one of the problem. If you can, you can exercise this problem. Here there are 30 circles. You draw 30 circles. Then in each circle, you draw something. You draw the original one. What you are thinking. For example, this circle is for you just draw a tire. Then the second one face, and the third one lid. Like that, how many things you can draw, that you see. When you practice this every day, your brain will improve, and your exercise, and you are moving towards the innovation, and you can improve your brain thinking. So these are some references what I have referred. Thank all the people, and I acknowledge these people. Thank you one and all. Thank you, students. Students, can I get feedback from anybody?